Welcome back to another episode of Mushoku Tensei. So in the previous episode, we saw Iris and Rudius showing a lot of respect towards Galen because we found out that Galen was or is the sister of, what's his name? The guy from the clan here. So she is from this clan. She was a very unruly kid, right? And then she left, and then they didn't really hear from her. And now she obviously holds a lot of respect, right? She garners a lot of respect from her students, being Rudius and Eris, which surprised them a lot, right? The clan. So that was really cool to see. We also saw towards the end of the episode, we heard about the 7 great powers and stuff, and we headed towards Millis, the big city or whatever of Millis. So that's gonna be interesting to see what that city is gonna be all about, right? It is Rujed, Rudius, Iris, and Monkey Boy, Monkey Guy, who are headed to Millis together. So that's gonna be really cool to see. So yeah, let's see that. So if you wanna watch this uncut and unblurred, as well as on Patreon in the description, and let's go into Mushoku Tensei episode 16. Oh. Man, I missed the show. I didn't record it in a while because I was on a bit of a break. I missed it. Whoa! Millishion! Wow! No, Monkey Boy! Yeah? Ryuhuhu. I'm sure we're gonna see him again at some point. You think he's gonna have like a huge bounty on his head or something once they get to the guild? That's so cool. Wow. Wow, the art is gorgeous. As always. Whoa! It's the Washington Monument. What a cathedral. Wow. Yeah, let's go. Ruja is going along with it as well. Whoa. I'm down. I am down.
You know what's really cool about the show is no matter how slowly it feels like the show sometimes moves, I always find myself wishing that it just stays there for a bit longer, that it moves even slower. I'm like, please just take your time. I want to see the city or the city here. I want to see what it's like. I want to see what the jobs are like here. I want to see what the Adventurers Guild is like here. I want to see what the people are like here. I want to see if you can like make your name, like make a name for yourself here, how much money you can earn here. I'm so glad that the show is taking its time with everything that it's setting up. And I always wanted to take its time even more than it already does. It's so well done. The world building. Oh. Oh. So brothers. Mass produce it. Yep. Yeah, it's about time, actually, yeah. Actually, you're right. Wait. Wait, sorry, I'm pausing again, but wait, I didn't even think about that either. I was like, you remember like a few episodes ago, I was like, maybe Roxy's gonna see Rudius here, and then she's gonna send a letter back to his family to let him know that he's safe and stuff, like, and all the mystery about his whereabouts and stuff are gonna be gone. I said that a few episodes ago. I didn't even think about why doesn't Rudius just write a letter himself? Yeah, that's how you... Bro's been watching too much Goblin Slayer. She is strong. He does not get any signaling. Great Emperor of the Demon World. Yeah. Oh. Just... I'm worried about Ares now. But Rujed's with her. Seigi no Mikata. I don't think that's a child, but still. At least doesn't look like it. Also, knowing Rudius, this is gonna be a pretty big thing that he's gonna get himself involved in. Is it the kid? Oh, I guess it is. Oh no.
Oh no. No. Oh, yep. It's a Rudia's trap. Perfectly designed. Oh, he put it on his head, didn't he? Didn't he? Yep. Yep. I think you might have a bit of a... You might have the entire situation backwards. Yeah, you know what? Fair. Fair. You have the right to be angry. Focus. Nice. Focus, my boy. Oh, drunk. I can't see. Is this Paul? Wait. I can't tell. He looks older. Is this Paul? It is Paul! Oh, he's been roughed up. He's been through a lot, huh? That's crazy! Also, how much you want to bet that he's the one who chose the girl with, you know, with everything out on display? He's the one who chose her to join the party. I'm sure of it. This girl. What's on the wall? My kindred spirit.
I mean, yeah. Fair. Paul has every right to be mad at him for not sending him a message. He was preoccupied with keeping himself alive, right? It never... Yeah. That's fair. I think that's the biggest one. I think the biggest one is not necessarily his priorities and stuff. I think the biggest one is him not writing back. I think that is the biggest, I guess, sin from Rudius in this journey here, right? In all this time, he didn't write back. He didn't think of writing back even. I think that is definitely the biggest thing that he can be mad about. I think him just, you know, finding himself in this situation and then trying to figure out, hey, what's the most that I can do out of the situation? It's not like he was like doing nothing. He was genuinely doing what he believes is right. And like he didn't know if there was anyone else caught up in the entire disaster, right? For all we know, we've only seen Ghislaine, Eris, and Rudy being caught up in it, right? So the only other one that he would know about would be Ghislaine, right? So obviously he was still making his way back towards the place where he like towards his home, right? So it's not like he was not, you know, trying to see what happened to everyone, but he would need to get home first before he could find that out. I don't think that's too big of an issue, at least I don't think so. But I think him not writing back, I think Paul has every right to be extremely mad at him for that, because they were worrying for him for the past year and a half, and that could have all have been alleviated by sending one letter home. Okay, now you're just being an asshole, Paul. No, you're just venting to your son. Yeah, you were... Oh.
Yeah? Oh! Norn! I don't blame Rudius in this situation, by the way. I think it's a valid crash out. Yeah, but Rudy couldn't have known about this unless he got back. Well, we were making our way back, right? Oh, I did not recognize that guy. Look, okay, look. Sure, hindsight, 2020, yeah, you could have, right? You could have thought of the worst case scenario, right? But Rudy got teleported there. He did not see any of the signs of like what was happening in the guild, right? Sure, you could say that he should have been more observant and he should have checked every single sign that was at the guild to make sure that if anyone said anything about like the village or there was any important, you know, announcements about it, right? But he got teleported. The only thing that he saw was a flash of light, and him, Ghislaine, and Ares got teleported. For all he knew, it could have been a tiny thing that they just happened to be caught up in, right? I don't know. I would not have made the assumption. The only way that I would have made an assumption that maybe the whole village was caught up in it is I would be like, okay, let's make our way back towards our village and see what's happening there, and then we can ascertain or we can see what the situation is like. It feels so harsh to be like, you should have seen the worst possible outcome happening, and you should have focused on that first and foremost, right? Because he was, at the end of the day, he was trying to survive, he was trying to help people on his way, he was trying to better himself as well, right? He was trying to become stronger, all of those things. It's not like he was goofing off, right? Obviously there were times where he was, but most of the time there was an actual mission which I think is very justified in what he was doing. It feels very harsh to be like, oh, you didn't think of this worst possible scenario happening and you didn't act on it purely based off of like a possibility of it happening, so you are in the wrong. I feel like that's very harsh, and all the things that Paul is saying to him feels like venting, and they're horrible things to say. Horrible things to say. The things that even when he's like, wait, did Sylphie get teleported? And he's like, wow, you wouldn't even think about your mother first, you would think about this girl that you met. That's such a bad thing to say. Oh my goodness. Okay, but to be fair, Paul has been through a lot. I get why he's saying it. He's been through a lot. He is definitely roughed up. He's definitely very unstable right now. So that's why he's saying all of those things, right? But also not even a shred of like happiness that his son is fine and okay after all this time. It almost feels like Paul would have preferred if Rudius was just not okay after all this time. If Rudius was also fucked up like he is, right? It's almost as if he would have preferred that his son wouldn't be healthy and fine after all this time that they've reunited. It's such a weird outlook on it. As I said, I think the biggest thing that I blame Rudius for is not writing back. I think that is the biggest thing, and the only thing that I fully blame him for. I think that's a fair criticism of him. Ugh. Aww. 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 Hmm. Ruger is such a goat. Aww. Ruger's just watching it. Oh, come on, Family Squabble. That's the title of the episode. Okay, so... Whew, what an episode, what an episode. I was thinking a bit more about the entire situation here during the ending. So... Oh, man. Okay, so... I can obviously see why Paul is the way that he is. It feels like he's been definitely going through a lot of things. He's been constantly, not a day has gone past, I'm sure, where he hasn't been thinking about, you know, Zenith and like basically everyone in the village. So, and he's been worrying about them and searching for them. So I'm sure he's been roughed up, and then seeing his son show up all like happy and giddy and basically be like, you know, I had some really cool adventures and stuff, and also because he told it in a way where it's kind of like more of a story, a fun story, than an actual like realistic like play-by-play of what happened. I'm sure Paul is gonna feel a bit hurt and betrayed because of, you know, how the difference between the, I guess, the dichotomy between the two experiences that they've had over the past year and a half. But also, I think he just said some things that just you should never say as a father to, or to basically to anyone, but especially as a father to your son. You should never say the things that he has said to him, right? He said some horrible stuff. Obviously, Rudy retaliated back with also saying some very insensitive things. But I don't know, it feels like it was always Rudius on the defensive and Paul who was always on the offensive, always initiating here, always instigating, right? He was also the first one to punch Rudius, which, man, that's just not something that you do, right? And we know what Paul is like. He's a pretty simple man when it comes to those things. So he can let his emotions overwhelm him at times. Man, okay. Anyways, as I said, I think the big thing... So I was thinking, what would you do?
right? You get teleported like this. I think my first thought would be, I need to get back to my town and make sure that everyone is fine, right? As soon as possible, right? Or send a letter. One of those two things, because I feel like you can resolve. But even if you send a letter, it's kind of like a one-way thing unless you're stationed somewhere where the letter can get back. But also, I feel like the letter is going to take a long time to go there and get back. I'm going to guess that it needs to go on a ship and needs to get there by, like, probably by horse, by carriage. So it's going to probably take, like, months to get from point A to point B and then from point B to point A, right? To get any kind of return on your information. So if that's the case, especially if you want any return, like, you can also just send it and be like, okay, hey, I am making my way back. That's it. So I don't know. I would have probably, you can blame Rudy for not being quick enough to get back home, because one part of this entire journey here was eventually going back to your home village, right? It's just that he's been doing a bunch of side quests on the side while doing that as well, right? He's been traveling from city to city, trying to do the entire dead end side quest. So maybe you could blame him for taking too much time with that side quest instead of actually going back home and first checking if everyone is okay. But as I said, I think a lot of that could be alleviated by just sending a letter from Rudius. As I said, I think that is the biggest thing that I blame Rudius for, is not sending a letter. But also, I also didn't think of it. I also didn't think of it until this episode. So maybe I wouldn't have thought of it back then either, if I was teleported like that. I don't know. I didn't think of it until this episode, so who knows what I would have done in that moment. As I said, I think Rudius was trying to make the most of the situation, trying to help the people on the way, which is fine, right? Ooh. A lot of it comes down to priorities. I'm thinking, right, how much do you prioritize making sure that your people close to you are okay versus how much do you prioritize helping people on the way home, right? How much time do you dedicate to people who might be in trouble that you find on the way home versus the people who might be in trouble back home, right? Because I feel like there's a big chance. I would have thought, honestly, if I were Rudius and I was teleported like that, I would have thought, okay, there's no way this was like a insanely huge blast. There's no way it would have reached all the way back to the village, right? I would have been like, okay, it probably just reached us, right? And maybe a bit longer, a bit further, and that's it. But I'm gonna make my way home eventually, and I'm gonna make sure that everyone's fine and stuff, right? And that would have been it. That would have been my mindset on it. So while I get back home, let me just make the most of this journey. Let me try to grow as a person. Let me try to grow as a warrior or whatever, as a mage, and try to meet as many people, try to help as many people. And then hopefully once I get back and I check if everyone is fine, I'm gonna be also a better person by then. That would have been my approach to it, I think. So it's hard to blame Rudius for anything but sending a letter back. Honestly, at least from my POV, I can very easily see where Paul is coming from, but also I can very easily say that the way that he handled this entire situation was absolutely horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible the way that he handled it. But yeah, he's not in the right state of mind, obviously. So once again, I'm not trying to be too harsh on him. I can see why he lashed out in the way that he did. But also, I don't think there's any excuse for hitting your kid. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.